Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Real Deal Financial. Pretty much coming in to you guys. This is literally business credit and business funding. I got my girl Cherie. Cherie, please introduce yourself.
Hey, everybody, I'm Cherie of the Profit Partner. I am primarily a business plan writer, but even more than that, I'm a person that helps people get funding for your business. So I help people kind of navigate the world of funding, figure out the best options for you, and connect you when possible. So uh, I'm really happy and excited to be here with everybody today to share some of the ways that you can get funding that you may not have ever thought of, and also answer questions as well. So,
Please get the likes up, y'all. Please get the likes
yes,
up. It helps the algorithm. It helps
get the
the
likes
algorithm.
up.
So, Cherie, just tell us more about yourself. Tell us on situation of one, when did you got involved into this game that we called credit?
Hmm.
Two, what is the situation of you helping other people and why you chose to help other people? Because a lot of people have this information and they keep it to themselves.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So, well, I do want to be clear that I'm not like a business credit type of person, the person that knows you how to, how to get all sorts of business credit. I'm more of a business funding type of person. So, like, I'm the person you come to when you're like, I'm trying to get that truck, and I need $40,000, or I'm trying to get, um, uh, like I have a client today who's pitching an investor for 1.5 million for an app that he's doing. Like, I'm that person. But I got interested in it actually through my mother, believe it or not. She decided she wanted to go to the bank for a loan and for her business. And she asked me to write the business plan for her. And long story short, the bank said it was one of the best business plans they had ever read. And I thought I was, like a one and done type of girl. But my mother starts bragging to everybody, like, hey, look at what my daughter did, our clients and people like that. And other people started asking me, well, will you write my business plan for me? And primarily it started off with people taking my business plans to the bank and getting SBA loans and things like that. Well, once you get into that, then people start asking you, well, hey, I've got this investor to pitch. Can you help me, write the business plan and create the pitch deck for that? And then last year, I was approached by some people who um, who have alternative sources of funding, and I vetted them and things like that. And they're like, you have clients that come to you that may not need the traditional bank loans and things like that, but we have credit cards that we're able to stack for people. We have other types of resources. We have real estate loans, things like that. So I connected with them, and now I'm really looking at helping people as much as possible. And I don't keep stuff to myself because I don't know. I feel like so many people share so many things with me. And I think we all need each other, So no, it's not worthwhile for me to keep stuff to myself. I'll overshare. So,
got you. When it comes
hmm
to the situation of you doing your funding,
hmm
please tell everybody that you also help when it comes to the business planning, because business
yes.
plans is very hard to execute when it comes to specific lending criteria, the underwriting,
hmm
and pretty much the meat and bones of the open sesame of getting somebody to lend you money. So
Yeah.
how did you get that structured? You don't have to tell all your secrets, but
hmm
that that
That's
is
okay.
that that is that's very hard to do. Help people getting SBA funding
hmm
solely off the strength of a business plan or just anybody.
hmm hmm
So
Yeah, so I very interesting. I'll tell you like a little bit of a longer story just because I think your community will have an appreciation for it. But when I got started with writing my first business plan for my mom, it was around 2009 timeframe. So I did what everyone does and I go to Google, right? And they've got the template in there that's like, put your mission in here, put your vision in here, tell us your marketing plan and things like that. But what I wasn't able to find is, well, what's the bank really looking for? And what causes them to say yes to this business plan versus no to other business plans? And you know what? I went to the SBA website. I went to all sorts of other websites. I really did Google. I really did look, and no one had that answer. So I ended up going to a mentor of mine that had about 30 years of experience raising money from all sorts of sources. And he said, make these changes. And he gave me his methodology of putting together the business plan. And I can share that with everyone as well. But he gave me his methodology and he said, make these tweaks and then, send it to the bank. And I did exactly what he said. And the bank said it was one of the best business plans they'd ever read. So, what I decided to do was actually put all of that in the book here. It's creating business plans that actually get financed. You can find it on Amazon. Amazon's the best place to find it. And I'll send it to you. But this tells you not only how to structure your business plan, but what the banks are looking for in those sections of your business plan and what the angel investors are looking for within those sections of your business plan. And I will tell you, I have helped people raise probably close to $40 million through banks and angel investing. I've never put vision in a business plan. I've never put mission in a business plan. Nobody cares about that at the end of the day. They're lying to you. Unless you have a nonprofit, that's the only time when mission actually counts, in my opinion. My opinion. Hey,
Carl,
Carl.
Carl,
We're
this
talking about the
is
boring stuff today, so they're not here, but look, they're going to catch you on the replay.
Carl.
So
If you have any questions, man, ask away in the comment section or get on the panel, man. Please
yeah.
don't bite off the head of my guests, of course, but still feel free to be able to ask your questions. So I have a person that wants to come up on the panel, so let me send that person that link.
Okay.
But when it comes to situations of funding, that's something where people do not have the easiest module because people
Mm-hmm.
may get lucky on one business plan. And that's because of either they knowing the underwriter or the underwriter either having some connections with that person where they tailor
Mm-hmm.
or tap them on the shoulder and say, "Yo, this is not it. This is not enough." So
Yeah, I
that
mean, look, I also get business from bankers who they have a qualified person sitting in front of them. However, the business plan is not up to what's needed. And if you're getting an SBA loan, you have to have a business plan that passes their requirements. So I do business plan triage, is what I'll call it for those types of businesses as well. But the bankers are contacting me saying, please do this for me. And a lot of people don't know, a lot of bankers are on commission. So if they don't get they have, every banker that I've ever spoken with has a quota, but a lot of them have commission as well that's tied to it. So they are incentivized to make sure that if you are qualified on every other point, that your business plan is top notch, so that the SBA will approve it. So, um, so yeah.
okay. So we have another panelist. Miki, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. How are you?
Hi.
Hi.
What's your question?
Okay. I have them written down. Hold on just a second.
Okay. Oh, wow. You have a list. Okay.
Just a few.
I'm gonna tease you like Erica does. Is this gonna be a consult? That's okay. I don't do like paid consultations. So, but go ahead. Let's see what you
Okay.
got.
Okay. So the first one is I have a 740 FICO
Mhm.
score right now, and I
Mhm.
would like to get 40,000 in funding.
Mhm.
And how would I go about doing that with your company?
Tell us a little bit about your business.
Okay, so I started a trucking dispatch company. I
Okay.
began in September, and so I
Okay.
recently just actively launched in January of.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And so I'm actively looking for carriers and truckers, trying to get them freight, try to get the high paying loads that's,
Mhm.
going on right now, the port situation, the
Mhm.
bottleneck and everything, trying to get that relieved and, get into the logistics chain.
Okay, all right. So there's a couple of things. You can see my website there, theprofitpartner.com. If you reach out to me one on one, I can connect you with a person named Justin that I speak with. I talked to Justin this morning, and he has a couple of different programs. One is a call it credit card stacking program where he can get you business credit cards. And he was calling me this morning because he got two people that I referred to him last week. He got them, multi thousands of dollars of credit cards. So that'll depend on not only your credit score, but also like how much income you have and have had over the past couple of years. The other thing he has is a line of credit program as well for businesses. So connect with me with regards to that. But for $40,000, that's like the fastest way for you to get that money. The cheaper way for you to get that money, but it takes longer, is to go through the Small Business Development Center. There's small business development centers across the country. So you could just type in Small Business Development Center near me. It is run through the SBA. They do require a business plan, but you can get up to $50,000 in what they call a microloan. For my credit challenged people, of which you are not one, but my credit challenged people, I usually divert you that way because I know people who actually had horrible, horrible credit and still got loans through the SBDCs. So, but if you want faster, then you come see me and I connect you with Justin.
Got you. Got
Yeah.
you. When it comes to Justin, Justin makes sure that you have either one program or the other.
Hmm.
And with Cherie, she makes sure that if you need a business plan, we go to you, right?
Right, right. So either I connect you, to Justin, or I tell you, okay, that's not really going to work for you, but here are some other options. So sometimes people come to me and they'll say, and I'll like listen to them and I'll determine, hey, you would do better approaching a private investor, or you would do better just, printing up some business cards and just starting, right? So there's a lot of different ways that people can get funding, and a lot of people just need advice. So
What's your opinion when it comes to the grants? How can you be able to get people into the
these
right position when it comes to
grants,
grants?
yes, okay. So the first thing that I say about grants is be prepared to compete because grants are they're competitive. The second thing is that there are grants that are federal, there are grants that are state, there are grants that are local, and then there are grants that are done by private organizations. There is forthcoming going to be the best database for profit businesses that are seeking grants. I'm working on that right now. So that'll be out in about March. But, right now, if you were to look for grants, if you were to Google, I want a business grant in Google itself, it's incredibly difficult to find it because they're all over the place. They're not in any central database. Also, you can have Damon John come out and say, hey, I just got a whole bunch of money from State Farm and I'm giving out $10,000 grants. Well, if you're not on his social media at a certain day and time, then you would never know that that's forthcoming. So with grants, you kind of got to keep plugged in um, with regards to who has grants, or you can join my database when I have it open, because that's what we're going to be doing. That's the next level, is notifying people when these grants hit the street.
Got you. Got you.
Yeah.
And can you please show us a PowerPoint for the people that like visuals? Can you
Yeah,
please give us an overview?
absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm going to give you all the overview of my company, and I'm Cherie here. I talk about all sorts of funding, including creative funding, which is our conversation with Real Deal today. Uh, First question you may be asking yourself is how do you get funding for any of your needs, including startups, growing your business, buying a business? I'm a big fan of buying businesses because if you're starting a business, you have an 80% chance of failure. But an SBA person told me that if you buy a business, they will fund it more readily because you have an 80+% chance of success. It's actually closer to 90% chance of success. So some of you need to think about buying businesses. If you want to buy trucks and equipment, if you want to fix and flip real estate, if you're growing that $1 billion unicorn business, if you're looking for these business grants, or if you're looking to make money moves fast, this presentation is for you today. So, how do you get funding if you're a new business? If you have no business experience, you got bad credit, no collateral, bankruptcies, and you ain't got no friends? If you have all six of these struggles, you don't have a chance. Be honest with you. However, Erica Williams is someone that both Real Deal and I follow, and she has a saying: pick a struggle. Pick a struggle. You can have a struggle. You can have a struggle of no collateral, or you can have a struggle of being new to business. But you can't have all of these struggles. But there is hope for you if you have one or two struggles, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. So again, the bad news: if you have all of these, then you're pretty locked out. But if you've only got one or two, there's usually a solution for you. How much money is out there? Well, there's a whole lot. Alternative lending every year is about 8.5 billion, and that is going up with peer-to-peer lending, with crowdfunding, which we haven't even talked about, but Real Deal knows about that. We've got a lot of opportunities out there with regards to alternative lending. Bank loans, business banks, sorry, banks are giving about $250 billion a year in bank loans. And then angel investing is about $23.1 billion a year. That doesn't include venture capital. It doesn't include other private markets, which are expected to go to about $1 trillion a year in 2030. So if people say there's no money out there, that's not true. If you think there's no money out there for Black people, that's not true. I just spoke last week with a woman who is a Black woman, successful business owner, and she is specifically funding Black women businesses. There's now a group of 40 Black women that have the Black Women Angel Investor Network or something like that. A friend of mine sent that to me yesterday to take a look at, and she knows one of the people who founded it. So I'm sure there's stuff for Black men. I haven't come across it yet, but I'm sure there is. Robert F. Smith, all sorts of people are out there. So, and if you're not Black, don't worry about it. There's stuff for Latino people, LGBTQ, all of that stuff. There is money out there for you. So Jonathan, if there's anything, if you need to come in and ask me questions as I'm going through this, just feel free to interrupt me.
Well,
Go ahead.
well, let me say this. We have more people coming in. Please, this is an open panel. If you have any questions for Cherie is a very busy woman. Cherie is a businesswoman as well. She can get you structured when it comes to funding. Please, if you have any questions, please click on the link. Please tap in when it comes to the situation at hand. This is something where Cherie is a very busy person. Cherie is a very strategic, how can I put it? Very strategic business type of woman where she can get you funding from either levels, no matter if it's credit funding, no matter if it's angel investing, no matter if you're just buying businesses. So before we go into the startup, can we say that when it comes to the funding, what is the quickest time that someone can get funding? That's another question I'm getting.
I've seen people through Jonathan get it within a week.
Gotcha.
From application to funding approved.
See?
Yeah.
See? 1 week.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Not
can't
6
guarantee
months.
it. No, no,
Not
no.
guarantee. No
Yeah,
guarantee.
I can't guarantee that that's going to be your time frame because but he's called me and said, hey, it's already done, and I'm like, oh, that was last week, and he said, I know. So that's why I tell people there's fast ways, there's slow ways. If you're trying to get the best interest rate, you're going to go slow boat. That is SBA funding, right? Middle is, just a commercial loan. Fast way are some of these alternative lenders that I have. Um, so you have to decide. I always say to people though, with the interest rate, if you're able to turn $1 into $20, in my opinion, who cares what the interest rate is? You know, so it depends on you and how quickly you're able to make revenues from the money that you're borrowing. Are there other questions you have, or do you want me to jump into this?
No, ma'am. Let's jump into the startup because most of my people, they
Okay.
have startups. They have
All
startups. They're
right.
saying, real deal, I need help.
All right. Well, look,
Yep.
here it is. So,
Okay.
if you are looking for fast application, fast decision, you want to go through some sort of alternative lender. My guy, 680 plus credit score gets you through the door. So, he has a couple of different loan programs. If you just have a 680, preferably a 700, but he can sometimes squeeze out the 680. And you have over 50,000 a year in income over the past couple of years, he's got more options for you. But if you just have a 680 credit score, there is still something for you, something that he can do for you. So um, you're able to contact me. I'll give everybody my information at the end of this, but there are options for you out there. If you don't have great credit, you're able to do one of two things. Number one, you can get a credit partner. That doesn't mean that that person runs your business. It doesn't mean that they, are you're signing your life away to them. They're just your credit score partner. Justin told me that. Sometimes he has to have people sign an additional piece of paperwork for this, but I did have somebody who brought on a credit partner in order to get this done. So, so that's possible. The other thing, if you don't have the credit score and you don't have a credit partner, but you have at least $25,000 in an IRA or a 401k that is not attached to your current employer, then they have an alternative loan program with no tax penalties. So right now, you know that if you're taking out money from your IRA, then there are tax penalties. There's a program where you're able to get that as an alternative loan with no tax penalties. And then the other thing is family and friends. So this goes back to business plans. If you are if you have a rich uncle, rich aunt, whatever, I've worked with people before where they're like, my aunt will give me the money. True story. Person told me this. My aunt will give me the money, but she needs to see a business plan, right? Then, we're able to work with you on that. And your aunt knows you. She loves you. She just wants to make sure that you know what you're doing. And we work together on the business plan and the financials so that you're able to get that check pretty quickly from her. All right, growing a business. Some of you already been in business a couple of years. You want to grow. Again, fast application, fast decisions. There are term loans, up to 7-year term loans if you have a 650 plus credit score. One of the things that Erica asked me last week that I cannot say enough is when you're doing your tax returns, show a profit on your tax return. Show that you're making money if you want to borrow money in the future. A lot of us are trying to skirt and skim and not pay taxes and things like that. That is the quickest way to not be able to make a move when things arise. So but there are options for you. 650 credit score, 7-year term. You also get access to the lines of credit, the credit card stacking, and the alternative loans through your IRA or 401k through this as well. And then if you're willing to take the slower route, the SBA, they loan, I think, up to $2 million 2 million and some change. So, so a lot of us can do a lot with that. You can buy businesses, you can start businesses, etc. And then there are also private investors if you're able to negotiate great terms with them. So,
Okay, so with buying businesses, can we
hmm
go on buybiz.com and find a
hmm
situation where if it's listed for 1.7 and it's say a bar,
hmm
a bar, does it have
yeah,
any restrictions? Can it be a bar? Can it be a club? Can it be a nightclub, strip
yeah.
club?
It can be
Can it
pretty much
be
anything.
a
My
warehouse?
Yeah, I would say stay away from cannabis just because it's not federally. It, it's uh, it's still illegal on a federal level, so I know
Yeah,
that they're not.
it's still on Schedule One. They still can classify it as Schedule One. Yes.
Yeah, so I wouldn't do anything around cannabis, but anything else, bars, restaurants, gyms, consulting businesses, even things like software as a service, micro SaaS businesses and SaaS businesses, software businesses, and IT consulting, government contractors. I was speaking with a gentleman, two gentlemen actually, that were talking with the third one about buying his dump trunk dump truck business because the two gentlemen wanted to get into government contracting. I'm like, well, if you bought his business, he's been in business 20 plus years, then you're able to take all of that history and legacy and things like that and
Mhm.
and get government contracts more easily. So yeah,
And please
so
talk about that government contracts aspect because I got a lot
mhm,
of trucking people. I have a lot of people in construction. I have
mhm.
a lot of people that's listening in and ghost watch. See, I have a lot of ghost watchers, so they're not gonna come up unless you say something that's gonna be like buzzing. But really,
or y'all can call me if you don't want to come up, even though we would love for you to come up.
but
So
please, government
yeah,
contracts.
the government contracts, look out there, $500 billion a year in government contracts. The government is the biggest buyer in the world. And there are certain set asides for us as Black people. If you're a veteran, service disabled veteran, woman owned business, etc., they buy everything from nail polish to missiles. I probably shouldn't have said that on YouTube. All sorts of stuff, right? So I've been in the Metro DC area for a while. I know a lot of government contractors. There is there is something to who you know and not just what you know, or just having um, the right certifications. The people that I've been around that have done well with government contract um, have, bidded certain things, but they also like know the contract administrators, they network appropriately, etc. I have heard of people who just bid, and they get stuff. I've never spoken to someone that I know, like I've seen behind the scenes with that. So I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just saying I haven't seen it. Where I can legitimately say, yeah, I saw them. They just bid 20 contracts and got five of them. So, but yeah, so that's how that game works. Um, other
Sam's number.
questions?
So
Yeah,
people should also get a Sam's number when it comes to government contracts as
yeah,
well, correct?
yeah. So you go through Dun and Bradstreet. It is free. If Dun and Bradstreet tries to sell you something in order to get that number, then you're talking to the wrong person. It is free. You just tell them you want to apply for government contracts, and they have to give you that number for free. Sometimes you'll need a cage number as well, CAGE, a cage number. And there are, let's see here, I just spoke with a person a couple of days ago who was a contract administrator, and she was giving me some other stuff to think about as well. I'm not a super expert on this, but like I know the right people to send you to. If you come to me and you're serious about government contracting, I have two people I could send you to that like definitely know what they're doing. So it's the Cage number, it's the Sam's number. Um, within the DUNS, your DUNS profile, you're going to need to attach your bank account. And then you also, if you are living in a hub zone, you want to make sure to get that certification. One of my business mentors has a $50 million contract in a hub zone because he's in a hub zone. And the interesting thing about hub zones versus 8A is that if you have a hub zone certification, it never goes away. If you have an 8A certification, then it's only for 8 years. So, and also you are able to go to a website and check and see if your address is a hub zone. The interesting thing is New York, a lot of the areas of New York, including Harlem, are hub zones. So, you don't have to live in the hood to be in a hub zone too. So definitely
Okay.
want to check that out.
Okay.
But you can get woman-owned certification, minority certification, disadvantage. If you are a service-disabled veteran, you pretty much get to the top of the list with a lot of stuff. So, and then the other thing that I would say with government contracts is make sure your capability statement is on point. And if you don't know what any of that stuff
You
is, you
need a you
kind of,
need a you need to dig deep on that. You just said a
yeah,
big word, right? Right.
capability. I was going to say, if you don't know what any of this stuff is, I would suggest that you contact me and I will connect you with two people who are really good at it because there's a certain amount of hand holding that you will need in order to do well with government contracting. So, the capability statement is a fancy term for a one pager, but it needs to look a certain way and it needs to have certain items in it for you to be taken seriously.
Got you. Got you. Miki, have you looked at the private chat? And are you on a laptop?
No, I'm just on my phone right now.
Okay, so Sherry, let's get by this, and we also want to
Okay.
look at some real estate properties because on my channel we also talk about the funding and look at real estate properties, so it gives people a visual on what to strive for when it comes to SBA funding people that are going for a business instead of going ground up.
Okay. All right. So
So
buying businesses, you got SBA loans, you got alternative loans. People can buy a small business, a small online website that's profitable. People are buying them for $20,000 and using credit cards and then doing certain things in order to increase the income and pay the credit cards back. There's all sorts of stuff you can do with buying businesses. With real estate, I have a connection that does hard money in 46 states. Got to have a 650 credit score, no recent bankruptcies, but that is an option for people. Um, for bigger deals or faster deals, I do suggest that you build up an investor network. So I'll tell you a story. Not when I was, a few years ago, I did a business plan for a woman who lived in the DC area. She was a former Marine, but she came from Alabama originally. She and I came up with her business plan where she would buy houses in, I think, Birmingham. She would take no more than 30 days to do like light aesthetic fixing up of them. And then she would rent them out and she would let all of her investor network friends in the DC area that had high incomes, worked at the Pentagon, places like that, know that, hey, I've got this property down in Alabama. It's rented out, it's cash flowing at X amount of dollars per month. Do you want it? She has built a $2 million portfolio. She came back to me like 2 years later. I'm like, thanks for that business plan. I got, $400,000 from the bank because that's what she was looking for the business plan for. She got a line of credit from the bank in Alabama to do this. And her whole thing was for every two real estate projects that she did, she flipped one and she kept one. Flipped one, kept one. That was it. $2 million portfolio in a few years. So,
okay, hey,
yeah,
that's
one
a
of my
good
favorite
deal.
stories to tell. So, If you want to grow the big unicorn business, you're looking at private investment, you're looking at family and friends, you're going to do multiple rounds, a seed round, Series A, Series B. If you don't know what this stuff means, we can have a conversation on about it. Real Deal wants you to join the panel. If you have questions about this, I can go through it a little bit more with you. But there's a ton of people these days that are helping people understand how to grow, how to start businesses and grow them into multi-million, if not billion-dollar businesses. So the grants we talked about already. I'll tell you two things about the grants. Number one is the best grants are hidden, meaning that a lot of people don't know about them. You want to network with people in your local area to find grants. And ultimately, y'all know I've got my business grant directory that's going to be coming out in about 6 weeks. So if you want access to that, I'll give you my email and you all can let me know and I'll put you on the list for that as well, because we want more people to get grants. There's a just within the Black community, there's about $60 billion that has been set aside for grants for Black people since George Floyd died. And nobody has the list, right? Except for this one guy that I know. I reached out to him. I'm like, I need your list. So he and I are working together. He's getting me the list and things like that. But like a lot of this stuff, if I were to ask you, hey, where's the main list of these things? Nobody
Hmm.
knows where they are. How do you get access to it? What criteria? It's like individual websites. And the 60 billion are just the big companies. We haven't talked about the enterprise companies. We haven't talked about smaller
Cherie,
companies.
we
Yes,
can barely
yes.
hear you. Okay, now
Oh,
we can hear you.
sorry. Oh, sorry.
Now we can hear you.
All right.
Now we can
I'm
hear
going to be a little bit closer then. We haven't talked about, um, uh, I guess, what was the last part you heard? Did you hear about the $60 billion? I want to make
you.
sure you
60
heard that.
billion. 60
Yes,
billion can
60
tell you
billion
that.
just for Black people, right? So, but there's no central database for any of this stuff. So I've got to connect. He gave me the 60 billion, but there's a lot more that's out there just for us as well. But nobody's putting this stuff together, not in like an easy to find fashion. So that's my next mission, is to do that. So, getting funding is competitive, but there is money out there. And this is my cell phone number. You can call or text. I've been getting a lot of text messages. I'm going to keep this open here for a second, and I am going to take message. I'm sorry, take messages. Um, take calls, answer questions.
That is funny. All my people now are coming in. So please like the video. Please like the video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please
Yes.
also be able to come up on the panel. Keystone, he has his email, so please write his email down. He's a person that would need the situation on getting onto that grant waiting list.
I
Situations of
am
you creating a business plan for him. He wants a trucking business, so if he finds an
okay.
existing trucking business, you would help him sit down with him when it comes to the business plan structuring.
I can. Yeah. Yeah.
So Keystone, that's that email.
Yeah. You can email me. I just put it in the chat there, Keystone. You can call or text. I see the appliance repair here. Appliance repair is huge right now. It's huge.
Appliance repair. You already understand the motto. Okay, so he called you. I gave him your number. He called and left a message about business funding.
Okay. Well, I have a ton of calls to respond to this afternoon. So
So
Joey's
Cherie,
listening from work. I see that. Hey, Joey.
Joey. So everybody's in the situation of one, the funding,
Mm-hmm.
two, situation of business plans, three,
Mm-hmm.
the organizing of how to be able to bid for government contracts. Can
Mm-hmm.
you please explain in great detail and in depth when it comes to organizing everything? Because there's people that said, "Well, I didn't get the PPP money," or try to say that Black people didn't have access to it when it was on the basis of your accounting. Can you please stress the importance of your QuickBooks, your accounting,
Yes.
and and also the registry of your business?
Mm-hmm. So I will tell you that I know a lot of people, black, white, etc. And of the black people that I know, there were about three or four that all of a sudden we started calling each other. Hey, did you get this email from the SBA? Hey, what is this? They were giving money away. But here's the difference. They were giving money away to companies that were filing their taxes and showing profits. I know another person, not with the PPP loan, but just in general, she was making close to $100,000 a year, but only showing $7,000 a year in revenues for her business. One of the issues that we have as a people, when the reason we get left out is because we're not filing taxes, we're not showing profits, we're scared to pay, a little bit of taxes on our money. But the people that got money, when I tell you people got money, this one person I know got like well into the six figures. Um, and like I know personally, this other person I know, um, she makes like 600 grand a year and she got, I want to say 80, 90,000. And that wasn't all she had qualified for. But, people were getting money and it wasn't based on race that we were excluded. It was based on paperwork. It was based on paperwork.
Like, hey, no more street businesses, y'all. You gotta,
We
we got,
cannot have street businesses. Now, I'm not
we get,
saying that racism doesn't exist at all in lending. I know if we go into the bank and they see us, that, yes, I'm well aware of that. But these alternative lenders, when Justin calls me and I call him, he's not looking at you saying, "Oh, you're black. Oh, you're male. Oh, you're female." He's looking at credit score and he's looking at your taxes.
hmm
So, we are going to have to educate ourselves in order to do better.
Yes, because for one thing, we need a situation of people being more business oriented. So,
Hmm.
uh, Crixie, can you please research a website called CREXI? And do they also fund when it comes to commercial real estate?
Let's see. I've never heard of this website before. So
Gotcha.
it's saying here your next commercial property is here.
I'll
Search
share.
the fast growing. You
I'll share your screen on that one. So this is
okay?
for the
I'm gonna.
audience as well. So
Yeah.
open panel, y'all. So she's here. She is here for a limited time only. Uh,
Hmm.
Miki
I
also
don't
have.
see. Yeah, I don't see
Okay,
any
peace out.
funding with this.
Not with that commercial real estate problem.
Mm-mm. No, I just see properties for sale.
Well, that's the situation. How can we be able to get the funding to get that property, the SBA funding,
Oh, okay.
that
So
wing? Yes.
yeah. So excuse me. Once, so the SBA has a couple of different programs. They have a 7A and a 504. I think for property, it's the 504, but don't hold me to it. Um, but you are able to do like you do with a regular business. You decide you want to buy a property, you negotiate it with the person, come up with a sales agreement. You have to go to the bank. You don't go directly to the SBA. So you go to the bank, you say, seller and I have made this agreement. We're buying this property for $10 million. The bank will say, yes, you're approved. And either they'll say, yes, you're approved. We're just going to cut you a check, or you're approved, but we want the SBA to guarantee the loan. So that's technically what happens is the SBA guarantees about 90% of the loan. If you are, now we'll tell you this piece. I have a lot of people coming to me who want to start, for example, assisted living companies. I always suggest to them that if they're very serious about doing that business, try to buy a property versus just leasing a property, because you'll need less money down and the property can be the collateral for the business. So that's another tip as well.
So the
I don't see.
property can be collateral for the business.
Mhm.
Okay, so rewind that for people that are understanding this because they
Yeah.
don't know what collateral is, credit. What's the
Okay.
situation?
So when you go to a bank, you need good credit, you need cash. They'll never fund 100% of the money you need for the business. So let's say you need $1 million, they may ask you to come to the table with $100,000. You'll need collateral. Collateral is, let's be real, it's what they can take in case you don't pay the loan. So for most people, you'll go to the bank and they'll ask you what kind of collateral that you have. If you have a home that you own, they will use that as collateral. Some people have cash that's in a CD. I have a relative, that's how she was able to collateralize her loan. She had some cash, she put it in a CD within that bank, and they use that as collateral. So it's basically what the bank takes if you don't make the loan payments. Um, and then they'll also want to see a good debt to income ratio, meaning that you can have some debt, but not a lot of crazy amounts of debt. Um, so, going back to what we were talking about with the real estate, again, I have a lot of people contacting me who want to open assisted living um, facilities, right? It could be in home or it can be like an official one. But let's say you want one in a house, 5-bedroom house, right? What I suggest people do is see if you're able to buy the house. Because if you are, then the bank will use the house as collateral for that loan versus if you're trying to just lease the house. The other thing I like about, again, with assisted living and buying the house is that, um, let's say you have a lease that's 3 years. After 3 years, that person can say, that the homeowner can say, I don't want you in the house anymore. I want you to leave. But if you own that house, then nobody can put you out except the bank if you don't make the loan payments. So you have more control.
Perfect. So can you please share your screen?
My screen again? Okay.
Yes, yes. We got
My
we got
phone
real
number?
estate websites.
Oh, you want to look at this real estate website?
So we got to give an example
Okay.
because a lot of people they want to do commercial. I got people that wants to do some form of restaurant business. So yes, this would all tie in to each other.
Okay. There it
So
is.
you can pick a big city market. You can choose, I would say Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And we have for sale here. You have any kind of, oops. I've never used this one before. I usually use LoopNet. So
Okay. So you can see what is that?
this is
Business
a
on the
Domino's
left.
Pizza, 1.1
Domino's.
million. Yeah. Um, you've got, looks like an apartment building here.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, looks like an office building. Um, Let me know if you want me to click on something. Retail here, real estate portfolio. You've got a nice little building here,
And do they
4.4
buy
million.
portfolios? And do you have any type of recommendations when it comes to portfolios? Because portfolios is usually the hardest ones because it's like a blast of properties.
Yeah, I don't have any recommendations because I've never done one personally and I don't want to give out incorrect information. Um, so I really don't know. I've known people who have started portfolios and have like purchased individual um, buildings and added them, but I don't know about
Okay,
buying them in
Cherie.
blocks.
Okay, Cherie. So we're gonna have to bring those people on if they feel comfortable. They can promote their business.
Yeah, I can ask around. I can ask a couple of people. So this is an interesting one here, the Dollar Tree, uh, Easy Pawn Dollar Tree Center. So this is has been on the market for 63 days, and you're buying the retail location. I don't know if you're probably not buying the businesses themselves. You're probably just buying the retail locations here.
Yes.
So for 3.2 million. So um, and they have a cap rate of 77%. I know anything above 6% is good.
Yes.
100% occupancy, and this is the net operating income here of $226,000. That's how much this plaza brings in per year. So, yeah. So, look, there's all sorts of stuff you could do. And a bank would, as far as I know, a bank would fund something like this. Now, I think one of the things you would need to ask is, are there any repairs that need to be done that you, as the new owner, would be responsible for? Um, just making sure um, that you're not getting into something where there's a lot of repairs, or also asking another thing is, for these two companies, when are their leases up? Because you wouldn't want to get in there and then all of a sudden Dollar Tree leaves because their lease is up 2 months later, and then you have a vacant location here.
Well, usually they have the lease term on the description of every single listing that you see. Like,
Yeah,
but they
it's
also
probably in the due
mentioned value
diligence.
add. But they also
Hmm.
mentioned value add. So there is repairs when they mention value add. Anytime when they say value
Hmm.
add, yeah, there's some repairs.
Yeah, so value add through leasing here, value add through leasing vacant self-storage units. So, um, yeah, so like I have said, I've helped people write the business plans for these, but for something like this, I've never done anything exactly like this. I have my mother had a um, my mother's a bookkeeper, and she did have a client that owned a shopping center like this in Southern Virginia. But one of the issues that they had was their main, they call it the anchor tenant, was a
Mhm.
gym, and the gym moved, and that space was vacant for over a year. Because one of the things with owning commercial real estate is that you don't just put anybody in there, because these tend to be long-term leases. So you do have to make sure you have enough cash to be able to hold on if any of the spaces are vacant.
Got you.
Yeah,
Got you.
but it can be
So
great business. Yeah.
so we have a new subscriber. Salute coming from Erica's channel. New subscriber. Thanks for the info.
Hey.
Videos to views, please email me, creditbuilder475@gmail.com. And also get in contact with Cherie if you haven't already, or if you haven't planned to already, but this is open panel. So views, come up on the panel, views.
Yeah.
Come up on the panel. Miki, do you have any questions?
Yeah, just a moment.
Okay, so when it comes to situations of that, that's like a good type of planning. So
Mhm.
that means that you have the ability to structure it where if it's going for 3.2, I want to chop that bad boy down to 2.7, 2.5, and see if I can get it lower when it comes to the agreed price. So that means that the
Mhm.
10% doesn't have to be such as colossal, 250,000, 275, having that stashed away to be able to stair step your way into this type of complex.
Yeah.
That's actually a good move. So you use LoopNet specifically?
Yeah, I use LoopNet. I'm sure it has a lot of the same information on it. It's similarly structured as well. So yeah, and they have
'Cause-
all of the real estate for sale and for lease. as well, similar to a Zillow for commercial property.
Okay, so do you do any type of specific type of real estate, specialty type of real estate when you do these things?
I I
Residential?
I do not. I just have the connection with somebody who helps fund these, hard money lender. And then the only other thing I do is if I know certain things, then I will like relay that information, like I did, or I often do for people who are starting, for example, assisted living facilities. That's like a really big one that I get, or people who are starting childcare facilities.
Well,
So
search that business up as well. Search that business up for visual. So assistant facilities, you
assisted
can
living. Hmm.
assistant living. Because also Biden, with his sleepy ass, he put more funding
Ah,
on that when it comes to the first infrastructure package.
hmm.
So
Yeah,
yes,
so
that
here,
is
here, I'm going to show you my screen here. So,
okay.
and like you would have a better chance of getting funding for something like this that's already turnkey versus you trying to start something from the ground up. So, one thing that people don't know, I get a lot of people who call me about assisted living who have never run any kind of assisted living company before. You have to get something called insurance credentialing, meaning that you are, I know fancy term, all it means is that the insurance company is willing to pay your company for giving services to people or taking care of the elderly in your assisted living facility. We're going to look at this $2.6 million one though, right? 43 plus bed turnkey assisted living in Grand Junction. So I don't know anything about this here, but it's been on since 304 days. I wonder what's up with it, why it's been on the market that long. They haven't been able to find a buyer, but something like this, you may want to consider. There's a cap rate of 17.5%. Oh, that's the pro forma cap rate. This is the property cap rate itself of 5%. That's kind of low. So that could have something to do with it. Um, the NOI for the property is 169, and for the pro forma, that's probably the assisted living itself is 450,000. So, you know, if this were a good deal, I'm not saying that it is or isn't because I don't know enough about it, but if this were a good deal, then the bank would fund something like this faster than they would fund your startup. And with assisted living, this is here, these homes have a mix of private pay, Medicaid, and dedicated memory care. So they're able to take people of different income levels. There are some assisted living, for example, that only take people with private pay and long term care because Medicaid can be a pain in the butt a lot of times. So, you know, but yeah, these are all
But
sorts of deals that
Curl,
are out there.
this is her trying to get SBA. Oh, Cherie, come back on the panel. I don't know what happened. It kicked Cherie off the panel, but Curl, this is more of the aspect of SBA funding and getting the SBA and the bank to be able to use his collateral. Oh man, Cherie, click on the link again. If anybody wants to join up as well, please feel free. But we're talking more on the aspect of SBA and having the bank fund certain type of things. Oh man, Cherie, I don't know what happened.
Oh, I think I
Oh,
hit the wrong thing.
okay,
Sorry.
okay. So,
I'm back though.
but Carl, come up on the panel, man. Have some questions. Have some questions ready. Have some questions ready because we didn't necessarily recommend hard money loans for anything else but short term fix and flip. At least with me.
Yes,
Only
that's all
time I
you do hard money for is short-term fix and flip.
in a hot market where if the
Mhm.
property and Carl knows this, I'm pretty much preaching to anybody that doesn't know this when it comes to situations. If the neighborhood is 400,000, you got something under contract for 175, 180. That's where hard money loans can be very advantageous. If you put in a $50,000 construction loan and the rehab's 35,000, you profit 15,000 at closing due to the fact that you overestimated. but that's if you have a good relationship with your hard money construction loan lender. But still,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? But Curl, see, he comes on the grace of him buying something outright and it appreciating superseded amounts, so he don't need a loan. He's saying, well,
Yeah.
fuck a loan. He pretty much on the basis of fuck a loan. I don't need a loan. I got liquid cash. So when it comes to Curl, he's very conservative when it comes to debt taking.
Yeah,
And that's
people have to work their way up to that though. The other thing I will say is hard money is speed. And there are some people that are willing to, have those types of loans to get a deal fast, and get a deal done fast, or get a deal done when the bank will say no to it as well. So yeah, yeah. So I think there's a place for hard money. I even used to know a guy, he's passed unfortunately, but he used to do hard money loans for government contractors. So if y'all have like money, this is like a real thing you can do. If somebody gets a government contract, the person starts working on the government contract, but it could be 30 to 60 to 90 days before they get their first payment from the government. And we know with the US government, they're unless they fub up their paperwork really badly, they're going to get their money, right? So there are these things called bridge loans that are out there. And I knew this guy, he used to have a family bank. The family bank still is in existence. He just passed. But they used to give 90-day short-term loans to government contractors to carry them through from getting the contract to getting their first payment through the door. And he was making good money, good interest on that, you know? So, yeah.
was he charging good interest, or was he charging the vig? I'm playing the mafia vig.
Oh, no, no, no. He wasn't no, I know a guy, I do know a guy that took money from the mafia, like real mafia, and they almost threatened to break his legs.
God
I'm
damn.
serious. Oh no, I'm serious. Like I'm dead serious. Yeah. Yeah.
Fucking around with Joey Malerno, man. You
It
fucking
it
around with
so
with,
it
with
does
Joey Saga.
exist. It does, and I would not have believed the Tony Soprano of it, except that I saw it.
Mm.
So I'm like, ooh. And you know what's really funny? You know why he took the loan from Tony Soprano? Because his wife wanted to move into a bigger house and they weren't liquid at the time. And to appease her, he took money from the mob. And I'm going to tell you, they weren't black. They weren't black. And he
Yo,
couldn't pay them, and they threatened him.
yeah, man. So always try to do a background check when it comes to people. Always have some set
Mhm.
aside money, man. Always,
Mhm.
always have some set aside money, man. That's
Mhm.
something that even good fellas even preach religiously. Miki, are
Yeah.
you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Can you
Hey.
please get your question across?
Okay, sure. Okay. So being a black female, will I be eligible for women minority grants or loans that are specific for me for
Yes.
my dispatch trucking or freight brokerage type entities?
Yes. You're going to have to compete for them. But
Okay.
yes, there are.
Okay.
And what is the
And
competition level? What is the so it can be ranged around nationwide, correct?
Yeah, so with grants, there are like different people that give grants for different purposes. So sometimes it'll be Black women in tech. Well, then you're going to have to slant your business towards how you're using technology and some of the interesting things you're doing with tech as a Black woman in this dispatch business, right? Sometimes it's your county doing something or a local charitable organization giving away a grant. Well, you want to talk about local, 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 and the stuff that you're doing in the local area. Sometimes you have an entity that cares about job creation, like economic development. They care about job creation. You want to be like, hey, because of my dispatch company, I'm putting 200 men to work, right? So everything is about telling the story in the way that they need to hear it so that they could
Mhm.
say, okay, what you're doing lines up with us in our mission. There's never, ever a grant given out there that doesn't have an underlying mission or concern around it. And your job is to figure out what that is. What do they care about? Why are they funding these businesses? And play right into that. And a
Okay.
lot of people don't know that.
So it's more of selling a story
Hmm.
of community uplift and
Well, not necessarily community uplift, because not
Job
okay.
every,
creation.
well, no, 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 not
My,
every,
for black
it's not a
people and
monolith. It's
minorities.
not a monolith. You have to figure out for that specific grant, what do they care about?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And also, I have a real estate property, and I want to raise money from angel investors. Do you know
Hmm.
how look into that?
Yeah. So how much are you looking for?
Probably around 350 to 450,000.
Okay. Are you trying to get it from them as a loan, or are you making them equity partners?
More than likely, equity partners.
Okay, so if you're going to do that, you could probably get away with about a 5 to 7 page executive summary, as well as some financials. And you want to, because you're making them equity partners, you want to tell them like what the property is, what you're going to do with it, what are you going to do with the 300 to 450, how this thing is going to make money, how are they going to get their money back, when are they going to get their money back?
Okay.
And if you're doing a lot of construction, who the general contractor is and how do they know they're not going to get screwed out of their money?
Okay. Okay. That's about it for me. I think I'll probably be emailing you about the proposal for the government grants.
Okay.
Yeah, looking into that. But yeah, that's it for
Okay.
me.
Perfect.
Okay, so you can still stay on the panel. Keystone, man, bruh, get on the panel because you're in Philly.
Yeah, what's
'Cause
going on with the South Philly thing?
yeah, come on, man, you in Philly. So when it comes to that level, man, that's tough, man. You know, you got money from the mafia and you didn't know that. Oh shit. Oh, it's like that.
Yeah, it's like that. I didn't be very, very careful if you are not getting money from like traditional institutions. And I know that sometimes people are desperate, but there are repercussions to being desperate. I'll tell you another story that was interesting. A friend of mine, good friend of mine back in the day, she was a single mom, had a daughter, and she went to one of these cash checking places, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she walks in, she gets a payday loan. Well, 2 weeks later, she paid the payday loan in full, and they threatened her not to ever come back. The reason that they did that, and what you would think is like the exact opposite, they don't want you to ever pay that payday loan. They want you to keep being in debt forever and ever and ever because they make more money off of your debt and you being in debt forever than you actually paying the loan back. So you want to talk about sleazy people. I'm not saying all of them, not all, not all, not all, but she told me that story and she was like she was kind of scared to be in there as well, and she's a pretty tough girl. So
I'm telling you that VIG. I'm telling you that mafia VIG, man. 20-30% interest, man. Watch out.
mhm. Yeah,
Tell
yeah.
you something too. Lucky they just wanted to break his legs because I know cats will do way more worse than that. You couldn't even imagine. I know cats that'll skin you alive.
Yeah. Yeah, it was dangerous. And I mean the fact that he did it for his wife wanting a bigger house, that just, as someone who was married before, and I would never put my husband in that position.
Hmm.
I felt like that
So
was
what
very
you
self.
deal? What are you dealing with the Italians, Russians, Asians?
I'm
South
not,
Philly, man. South Philly, man. You dealing with Joey Zaza in there, man.
Yeah, you know. I
So,
know what you're dealing with in South Philly, but you got all types of mobs down there. You got Asian, Cambodians. You got all types of mobs out there.
yeah.
bruh.
You know what I mean? And you got Black Mafia. If it was Black Mafia, it'd have been a lot worse.
Mm.
But Cherie, when it comes to real estate markets, are you dabbling when it comes to real estate?
I want to
What's
get
your
into
what's your
tax
goal for this
liens.
year?
Yeah, I want to get into
Okay,
tax liens this year. I have no interest in being a landlord. I'm really weird. But I want to get into tax liens, not to get the house, just to get the 18%. Like that's my goal.
okay. So you're going for Texas tax liens where it's the highest interest. Arizona, they have high interest on their tax liens and delinquencies. So
Yeah.
that's better than the bank, man. The bank only
Look,
gives you what, 2%?
to not
Not
even
even.
1% right now. So
Ah,
yeah, and we within the 10K project. So I didn't even have a chance to tell everybody about the 10K project. Um,
go
10K
ahead,
project.
go ahead.
The 10K project is the largest community of investors who fund Black-owned businesses, and we do it through something called equity crowdfunding, which means if you get 10,000 people that each put in $100, that's $1 million. We can fund a business, and we can profit from our own innovation and work together to build Black wealth. So, y'all can check that out, the10kproject.com. But within the 10K project, we also have some other partnerships, and one we are seriously speaking with. We have a person, is going to be the tax lien group, where we're going to get together and we're going to, do the research together on the tax liens and buy tax liens. I don't know if we're going to buy them individually or as a group, but yeah, like we're all about purchasing this year.
Got you. Because also when it comes to North Carolina, they have it where the redemption is not as long. So if you are the person that want to pick up an asset, you can get it within a very short period of time.
Mhm.
Now there's certain type of redemption clauses where somebody can come out the blue 2 or 4 years later and say, "Okay, I want my property back." Okay, hold on, and try to stop the foreclosed situation.
Mhm.
I
So
want to ask a question.
go ahead.
Sure.
Do you help with credit scores or anything? Because I got a low credit score.
That's where I
So,
come in.
yeah. Oh, good. Then I can send people to you because I don't have a person for that.
Okay, you got
That's where I
it.
come in. See, that's where
Okay.
I got. See, she has it where she will help you create the business plan and get the other fundings and get you on the grant list. So, Keystone, and write this down, Cherie. He wants situations of grant list. He
Okay.
needs your help when it comes to business planning and getting that structured as well.
Okay. So Keystone, if you can put your in the private chat here, if you want to put your email, I'll put you on the list for the grants.
I'm about to give the other email out there, and I can't get that.
Okay. Or you can email it to me, either one. I
I'll
can put
email it
my
to you.
Okay, I'm gonna put my email in the chat here so you're able to grab it.
So I'm the situation when it comes to the credit repair and trade lines. So anybody needs credit repair and the trade lines, I'm the guy. If you need situations of real deal, I already got good credit. I need funding, and that's where Cherie, she
Yeah.
has her situations and her business plan, and she have everything structured out where you can get lending from anybody, the hardest people to be able to lend with. So
Yeah.
I
get
just
get
sent the
everything
message.
structured. Hmm.
I just sent the message. I
Okay.
give the info. I give more detailed information to her later on.
Okay,
But when
perfect.
you deal with business, you can't just put your government information out on these platforms.
Well, okay. My man is very stingy.
No, no,
Okay.
no. He so I definitely understand that. I started in YouTube, like before there was all this doxing and stuff like that. I've fortunately been for I haven't had an issue. But I understand,
You gotta
I've
understand the city
definitely
that I live. There's a lot of people getting killed over this YouTube.
hmm which is sad. Like this is supposed to be a place where we're all able to come together, share ideas, get better as people, and I'm seeing real deal. So real deal and I met over on Dana's channel, and
Mm-hmm.
I was starting to see a lot of stuff in Black YouTube that I did not like, but I didn't want to talk about it on my channel, so I went and talked about it on Dana's channel from a building Black
So
wealth
you gotta
point
be
of
careful
view.
too what you talk about on Dana's channel. She can get very revengeful.
Oh, well, I haven't experienced that, fortunately,
I
but
experienced by not saying that she can if you piss
okay.
her off.
Oh, oh,
Man,
She
that's
got
for
okay.
the
women who want
trolls.
to piss
That's
her
for the
off.
trolls. Keystone, job. That's for the trolls,
I
man.
haven't
Come on, Key.
experienced that. Yeah.
Cherie, he's
She's
talking
been
about
very
the
nice to
trolls.
me. Okay.
But she cool
He's
with
Okay.
talking
me.
about.
So, look, I'm above board. But in the words of Erica Williams, if I need to get my pew pew and my two German shepherds, I can do that too. So,
And you in
but
the
other
DC
than that,
area?
I'm a nice person. So
You're in DC?
I am not anymore. Not anymore.
I
I
got
moved.
family down there.
Okay.
So when it comes to this, you got his information. He got your information. If
Yeah.
anybody else that wants to come up, Shark, come up on the panel. Call somebody up that needs help. I know you know somebody needs credit repair, Shark. I know you need some. I know you know somebody that needs some grants because she handles the minority grants. She handles situation of helping you getting
Okay.
geared up for SBAs. So SBA, people need to understand SBA. They need your FICO to be at certain type of FICO score.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Please
Yeah.
expound on that. Please expound on that individually.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've seen people at least have about a 670 uh, to get the funding. So, okay, well, there's two different ways you can get SBA funding. The first is if you go through a bank itself. So, if you're looking for anything above $50,000, you need to go to a regular bank. And for that, the lowest I've seen is about 670 credit score for you to get approved by the bank, and then the bank goes to the SBA for the loan guarantee. If you're looking underneath 50,000, if you go to the Small Business Development Center, they're all over the country. I've seen people with horrible credit in the 500s get approved for loans with the Small Business Development Center. It does require a business plan, but you can get anywhere from $5,000 to $50,000 uh, through the Small Business Development Centers. Anything above 50,000, you need to go to a regular bank. There are also things called CDFIs, Community Development Funding or financial institutions. I had a client a long time ago, one of my first business plan clients who went there for funding. And I think that they have a little bit more relaxed criteria as well. She had a catering company. She still has it. So,
So CDFI funding.
mhm.
We
Yeah.
mentioned
So,
that lightly on this channel.
yeah, yeah. So that's another option. So there'll be CDFIs for different reasons. A lot of them are in underbanked communities. Um, whether it's Black, it's Latino, things like that. So you're able to Google those as well. And the biggest thing is just talk to people. One person may say no to you, and the next person may say yes.
When it comes to CDFI, I know Axion,
Hmm.
ACCION,
Hmm.
Axion. I think they're affiliated with the CDFI. Then you have this program where it's all these credit unions that legion up. It's
Hmm.
the American Consumer Council, if I'm not
Yeah, I don't know
mistaken.
that one.
The American Consumer Council. So that means if you're in a state That's Texas, but you got a lender like CD, no, not CD, SECU. There are a credit union in Maryland
I
that
know
are
them.
very lender friendly.
Yes, I know them. I have a guy over there. I have a guy,
Very
like I'm
lender
talking like
friendly.
I'm the mafia. I have a guy over there. Yeah.
I know the guy. I know the guy.
I know a
Yeah,
guy
I know.
over there. Yeah, I
It's
know a
funny. I know
bank. I know a
Salah.
banker over there, I should
That's
say.
funny. I know Joey Salazzo. I know all everybody. But when it comes to that, that is just something where people need to research on. That CDFI, that I spelled that correctly.
Yeah, yeah.
Bingo.
And then there are like African American ones as well. So
Got you. So people, I'm telling you, y'all, she's the plug. And the thing is, the beautiful part about this, she's nice and ever pleasant, because she could be tired and say, I don't want to be here for any long, but she knows that she needs to be able to help people when it comes to these services. Because a lot of people aren't very privy to that there's a lot of grants fundings out there. Because like you said, the most advertised one, like the Goldman Sachs pledge for 1 million, I don't see no portal out there. So I'm trying to figure out, was that a publicity stunt in Goldman Sachs, or what's your opinion on that?
Yeah.
Or the
So
JP Morgan Trust? That's another.
yeah, I think that there are. I don't think it's a publicity stunt, but I will tell you, sometimes it's very difficult to figure out who's winning these things and why they're winning them. But I have seen others where I'm like, okay, it's not, it's a real thing. So the what actually got me really kind of started in thinking about doing this and kind of saying, yes, I'm going to do it, is there is $100 million fund from a company called SoftBank that you've probably never heard of. But one of my non-Black, I'll call him a friend, came to me and said, Cherie, we're starting this company and we're going after part of this $100 million fund. And, we're developing a diverse group of C-suite executives for this company. And I'll let you finish the sentences that came after that. So people are finding out about this money, and it's like a real thing. Like um, they've been giving out a portion of their $100 million fund, and I know one of the companies that actually won some of that money. And it's not a win because it is a fund, like it's an investment, it's an angel investment, but the first one was so successful that they've raised another $100 million. But so many of us don't know about these things. And that one, it ain't publicized. I bet you if I told you about that, you wouldn't even know what it is. It's not publicized anywhere.
And that's SoftBank.
Yeah.
Well, I know Citibank, they was giving out grants. And then
Yeah.
they had to close that portal down. So if anybody that's coming in, this is an open panel. Have your last questions for Cherie before Cherie have to get up out of here.
Yeah, your girl got crazy phone calls to make before we end the day.
So my Cash App for any donations in contributions, donations, Mr. Perfect 23G. That's $ Mr. Perfect 23G. So Miki, do you have any type of last questions for Cherie before she get up out of here?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay, so perfect. What we're gonna do is we are gonna end it here. Cherie, it's a pleasure. I'm gonna make this very short because it's more digestible having it like this in a format instead of a 5-6 hour crazy stream. But Cherie, any final words? Give you the highlight.
Yeah. I want to say that whatever it is you want to do, you are able to do it. You just have to figure out how. And in order to figure out how, sometimes there's a who that's involved. So if I'm the person that you want to chat with, theprofitpartner.com, that's my website. You can fill in the information and I will give you a call back. We'll have a conversation. And my job is to give you the best wisdom and like the things that you should do from not only what I heard works, but like people that I've seen actually like go through the process and what I've seen actually work. Because a lot of people will tell you what they think will work, but that's because they got it from a YouTuber who got it from a YouTuber who got it from a YouTuber. Like that's not me. I'm very much like, oh no, I had a client and that's the way that they did it, and that's the way that they were successful. So
Got you. So please put your email in the chat. Please put your email in the chat lastly, so everybody that's watching the replay that say, well, I didn't get her phone number, I didn't get her email.
yeah, and actually what I'll do now is, because Erica makes me do this all the time, I'm going to put my phone number up again here. And there you go. I'll leave it up for another minute so people can capture that. 703-489-4589.
That's direct access, y'all.
Y'all can text me. Y'all can call. Let me know, a little bit about yourself, what it is that you're doing. And my job is to steer you in the right direction.
So yes, everybody. So this is her phone number, 703-489-4589. Her email, Cherie@profitpartner.com.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jill, for having me. Really appreciate it. Miki, did I say your name right?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on and letting us know what you're trying to do.
What's the name of the project website?
It's the 10K Project. So I'm going to stick that here as well. The10kproject.com. That is in the chat for everybody. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. So here is what I'm going to do. That's the 10kproject.com. That's the 10kproject.com. Joey, you have my personal line. So Joey's one of my clients. So you take care of him with good care.
I will.
You take care of him with good care, and also appliance repair. He also left a phone call, left a message. So he's one of my people as well. So this is my people connected to you. If any people that you know that need situations, that needs help, bring them to me.
Yeah.
We'll organize something, and we'll pretty much make this into an investment potluck. If any type of experts that you have, Cherie, get them on the panel with you.
Okay.
So we can make this where it's real estate specific on that end, people that understand when it comes to lenders, when it comes to grant funding, plus me. It's a great combination. So
yeah, absolutely. We'll talk offline.
Okay, so I appreciate everybody. I am Real Deal Financial. I literally appreciate everybody that shows support. I appreciate everybody that makes sure that things does happen, because everybody needs to understand that Cherie is a person of her word. She understands her type of business. She understands your type of scenarios of what you need. She will assess it where if she doesn't have somebody, she will forward it to somebody that she does know. People that have millions upon millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars of funding, So people should just understand that Cherie is that girl. She is that woman. Pardon me. She is that woman when it comes to that. She is the Dondada when it comes to this shit. So I appreciate everybody. Everybody have a blessed and productive Wednesday. I love everybody. And I'm Real Deal Financial. And I'm out.